FM network. My name is Jamie and I go by JWM_FM on YouTube. I'm here today as a guest creator, bringing you my recreation of Paulo Fonseca's 3-4-3 tactic with his Roma side. Remember, if you like what you see, make sure to pop over to my channel, the link is in the description below. I've currently got a Let's Play series with Newcastle going, and if you guys like this tactical video, I might add more of that. Also, if you can make sure you're subbed to the FM network YouTube channel, which is the button just down below, you'll get all the great content from loads of different great creators. So, let's get into the video. So, I decided I wanted to recreate Fonseca's tactic because his Roma side are really playing some good football when they get it right this season. They have been overshadowed somewhat by teams like Sassuolo and certainly Atalanta in recent years, but there's possibly something building if Fonseca is given time in the Italian capital, although the wheels have fallen off a wee bit over recent weeks. If he doesn't get them into Europe, it's maybe unlikely he'll get to build, but that doesn't change the fact that he's doing some interesting things. So the key components to importing Fonseca's real-life tactics into Football Manager is what philosophies we're going to keep in the tactic, and I see it as three main things. Getting the team to press wide, getting the team to overload the central areas, and getting a short, quick build-up from the back. These are all hallmarks of a Paulo Fonseca side, especially with Roma, so let's get into the video and see how we've gone about implementing this. Here we have the tactic that we've been using. I think the game refers to it as a 5-2-3, but really it works out as a 3-4-3 in transition, with the wing-backs pushing up into the midfield. So the player roles, so we start with a sweeper keeper. We haven't added any extra instructions, but we're really looking for him to get on the ball, but also to clear up behind our higher defensive line. We have two ball playing defenders and a libero in order to encourage the ball to come out from the back. We also have the ball playing defenders set to stay wider in order to allow them to split when we have the ball in transition, and all three have dribble less on to encourage them to play the ball rather than carry it out of defence. The wingbacks have cross less often and cross from deep. That's to try and avoid them hitting the first defender, which was happening so often. They also have stay wider in order to create the width for the team. Our left back has dribble more because Spinazzola has been playing there. He is 16 dribbling, but that instruction changes depending on which flank he plays. The midfield two are quite key, so the box-to-box midfielder really does what it says on the tin, but in order to get him further up into the box, we have him getting further forward and shoot more often. We have closing down more to try and get him to close down more on the flanks. Similar instructions for the centre midfield on support, who we do want to be a bit more of a playmaker, so we have him on take more risks. We also have him dribbling more because generally Pellegrini was playing there, and again he's a good ball carrier. We have him getting further forward and easing off tackles just to try and avoid a double yellow card in the middle of the park. Our main striker is a deep line forward on support, so his role generally is to get the ball to any of these players that are onrushing into the opposition central areas. Our inside forward is looking more to get in behind, so sit more narrow and get in behind, and shoot more often. And the advanced playmaker tends to sit narrow, roam from position as well, so he's going to pop up in this area and he's got closed down more on to try and get him to push more out wide. In terms of the tactical style, we generally play what's probably more a controlled possession or maybe even a vertical tiki-taka. However, these were all brought up by scratch. Generally, we play with a balanced mentality, but we do swap that onto positive or attacking depending on our opposition. So in possession, we've got a narrow attacking width. All of our instructions here are to focus the play through the middle of the park to allow us to achieve the best outcomes from overloading the central areas. Short, quick passing speaks for itself when you're wanting a short, quick build-up. And this is an instruction that we change depending on the opposition and how the game's going. So shoot on sight and work ball into box are two things that we vary. Be more expressive just allows more interplay between the front three and allows them to pop up in different positions, which I think is better representative of Fonseca's real life tactics. In transition, so we don't have the counter press on because what that was doing is it meant we were pressing positions where I didn't want us to press, we were just overcommitting. So what we have is the pressing intensity turned up and the midfielders individually to allow that to happen, but the rest of the team not to overcommit. Countering when we have the ball, so that's going to encourage our midfield two to break into the box. We distribute to our libero Often he is man-marked, so they will then play it out to the other centre-backs, but we really want the libero on the ball and take short kicks in order to allow that to happen. And then with this, we do play a higher defensive line. To be more genuine to Fonseca, you probably want a much lower or a lower line of engagement. However, in the match engine, this opens you up to the ball being played over the top of your defence and conceding that long ball over the top goal. So we've kept it as a standard. The defensive width is something again that we tweak game to game. So if we're playing a more narrow team, we want to force them outside because they don't have the players there, or if they're a team focusing on the width, we want to make sure we're solid in the middle. Overall, the press intensity stays as standard because I don't want that overcommitting press. So as you can see, there's various different bits and bobs that we change game to game, so this isn't really a plug-and-play tactic, but the general instructions of the short quick passing is helpful for the short quick build-up. The pressing intensity being up on these players helps them press out wide, along with the centre midfielders of course, and the in possession instructions in order to focus the play down the middle helps with the overload of the middle of the park. So let's see how these three areas were implemented in the match engine. Here we have examples of the wide press. In this first clip, Alexandro is pressed by our wide forward, who wins the tackle for an opponent throw-in. So Fonseca's side do press wide, and they like to use the byline in order to aid the press. This really means because you're pressing an opponent and the byline does half the work, so you're pressing them into the byline, so you don't have to have another man round that side to help with the press. As you can see here is a mixture of our wide forwards making tackles, but also our wing backs making tackles. It's not necessarily the strongest press, and it was something that was quite difficult to make in-game to work as fluidly as it does happen in real life. However, I think these examples do show that we are pressing out wide, that the wide forwards are making tackles, and that we are managing to win the ball out wide, even if it is just turning it out for a throw-in. But this is a key thing in getting this tactic to work and getting the defensive structure to work as it does in real life. Especially as we're committing players forward through the middle, it's key that if someone's trying to come around the side, that we win that ball back. So as you can see here, again, El Shaarawy makes the tackle out for a throw. In this clip, Ribery takes the ball, and as you can see, he's tracked by his man all the way down the byline before making that tackle. And for someone like Mkhitaryan, that's not necessarily a role that you would anticipate him playing. There you have Pellegrini, our centre midfielder, winning the tackle as well, and Jordan Veretout pressing Vlahovic there. So again, the centre midfielders are able to come out wide and press as the system allows. The central overload is all about using your team in order to get players into the box. Often combating a back five, be it as a back three with two wing backs in Italy, means that quite often you might be up against the numbers with just maybe a sole striker or even a front two. So Fonseca's side use the wide forwards in order to drift inside and support the central striker, which will often give them three in the box. Now to add numbers to this, the two centre mids generally get into the box in order to help support the attack. The width in this system is provided by the wing backs in order of them pushing up. However, a key component in order to getting this to work is exploiting the half space. Now the half space is the position in between the last centre back and the wing back. As you can see from some of these highlights, the ball might be played wide to a fullback or a wing back as Spinazzola, for example, who crosses the ball there. However, in the build-up, there's often players in that little narrow gap in between the wing back and fullback. As you can see, there are three players where he picks out Mkhitaryan and Dzeko, who are both in the half space. That space between the wing back and the centre back. So this is key in order to shift the defence over to allow space for the on-rushing players, either the opposite wing attacking player or the centre midfielder, to get space in order to get a chance and score. The short quick build-up allows for Fonseca's sides to retain possession, but also allows for them to break the lines. As you saw from this highlight, the team aren't afraid to pass back to the goalkeeper, who at this point launches the ball slightly more directly than initially planned, but in order to get us out wide and create a chance. So Fonseca's side, in Shakhtar being the more dominant side, were definitely all about possession and the importance of keeping the ball. However, he said in an interview with the Athletic James Horncastle that whilst he still enjoys his side having the ball, in Italian football he's learned that you can do things without possession being dominated. However, a key component to this side is having players with the ability to pass the ball and have the technical ability to do this. In order to keep this as a strong function of the team, it's imperative that the ball playing defenders have the technical ability to pass the ball and keep possession, while also the narrow formation going forward with central overload does lend itself to that sort of short, quick passing style, exploiting areas such as the half space in order for maximum benefit in pulling the opponents out of position. This quick passing style, although shorter, does allow for quick interplay between the players in attack and allows for the central overload to be more efficient as the opposition defenders may well be pulled out of position. Here we have the Serie A table at the end of the season. As you can see, we've successfully qualified for the Champions League, finishing third. We're quite a bit behind Juventus and Lazio, however, just above Milan and above the chasing pack in Europe. So I think the Giallorossi fans would be fairly happy with this in real life. So it shows that this is achieving the aim that Paulo Fonseca really has in real life. So we've managed to achieve that. So if we have a little look more at the schedule and we filter out just to the Serie A games, as you can see, we started off like a bit of a house on fire before the end of October into November, having a bit of a tough run. However, we sort of course corrected, went on another good run, and that sort of continued a little bit of inconsistency at the end of January. But then as we got through into February, March, April, and this is where the tactical familiarity really hit and the team got used to the tactic, had a fantastic run of results, and then we dropped off a bit once the Champions League qualification was guaranteed. The team dropped off a little bit at the end, but overall quite happy with this. And again, if we have a look at the Europa Cup, now we got through to the quarter-finals and knocked out against Chelsea, having beat them in Rome. We went back to Stamford Bridge and unfortunately lost 2-0. Not too disappointed with that. Would like to have got a wee bit further, but Chelsea are a strong side, obviously. A tight and nervy loss at the Olympico meant we just scraped through against AEK. And again, we scraped through on away goals against Galatasaray, so we were quite lucky even to get to the quarterfinals, really. The group stages really didn't prove much of a challenge. Conceded only one goal, went through unbeaten. So we did manage to win some silverware. We won the Italian Cup. And a 1-0 win against Parma, a 1-0 win against Juventus, and then we got a Serie B team, Cremonese, in the semi-final. Beat them quite comfortably before heading to Milan to win 4-3. If you have a look at the game though, we were quite lucky. Milan had the better XG, although a lot of that is due to the penalty, so I think it was fairly even. If we take that penalty out as just maybe another chance, that sort of really spikes their XG, but quite an even game, 4-3, great entertainment. So we were a bit lucky to get there, especially with Rebic's 89th minute disallowed goal. We were lucky to get there, but we managed to bring a trophy back. The last thing, if we have a look at the analyst report, you can see sort of in the league we've outperformed our stats or outperformed the league average in most of the stat areas. Have a look here, so just to show, we've used this one formation in 50 games and it's given us 14 more clear-cut chances, providing a chance every 75 minutes and a chance against every 98 minutes. I do find this stats a little woolly in FM, so I don't know how great it is, but it does show that we're creating more chances than we're giving up, so generally quite happy with that. And that's it for today's video. If you do have any comments, pop them down in the comment section below and either myself or the network team will get back to you. Thanks again for the network for featuring me as a guest creator, and please remember to sub to their channel, and once again, if you like what you see, pop over to my channel. Thank you very much for watching.